G'day everyone, and welcome to another Google SketchUp for Schools tutorial. In this one, I'm going to go through building a bathroom basin slash vanity. So we're going to start with a rectangle and just jump straight in with a new Google SketchUp for Schools canvas, and we're going to start with our rectangle. I'm going to single click and pull out to create the rectangle. I am going to type in some dimensions. I want my basin or vanity to be about 1 meter long and about 1/2 meter or so in width. So I'm going to go 1,000 millimeters by 500 millimeters, and that gives me about 1 meter by 1/2 meter. You can see I have my big rectangle there. Now I'm just going to go straight to my push-pull tool, and I'm going to drag this up. Now I want this to be about 1 meter in height. So there I am, and you can see there I need to do a bit of scrolling and panning so I can see what I'm doing next. Now, next thing I want to do is I want some bits of this basin to be overhanging the actual cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my offset tool, and I'm going to pull outwards from here, and I want it to overhang about 5 centimeters, so that's about 50 mil, and I'll pop it in. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise that up, because I don't want it to be this tiny little sliver. I want it to be a decent portion of my vanity, so I'm going to raise it up, and I'm going to push or pull it up using the push-pull tool. I'm going to pull that up again 5 centimeters. But I don't want it to dig in. I actually want it to all be flat at the top. So I'm going to drag that little puppy up 5 centimeters as well. Now, if this has done the right thing, I should be able to look at that rectangle and start getting rid of these bits. And there we go. Now we've got a nice flat surface on what's going to become my bathroom vanity. So next thing I want to be doing is I want to be putting in some cupboard doors. So I'm going to go to the front part of my vanity here. And again, going to start using the offset tool, but going to use it a little bit differently. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to split my vanity here in two. So I'm going to find a midpoint. I'm going to start with the one down the bottom because that's a little bit easier to find. But I'm also going to scroll so I can see the one that's going to happen at the top. So find the midpoint and straight up to the other midpoint. So now I have 2 halves in there, so you can see it's starting to form those doors. Next, I'm going to use that offset tool again. Okay, just use this offset tool again, and I'm going to put an offset, or an inset rather, into these halves. I'm going to come in, and I'm only going to come in about 3 centimeters this time, so that's 30 mil, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so there's a good start for our cupboards there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to find some midpoints that I'm going to use some guidelines on. There's that midpoint. And there's that one. I'm going to find another midpoint. And then this midpoint. Now I can get rid of these first two. And now I've got a guide for where I might maybe put some handles. I'm just going to go straight to the midpoint with my circle tool. Make it bigger. Yeah. Let's make them 5 centimeters in radius. There we go. Some nice big handles. And we'll pull them out so that you can actually grip them. not very far. Okay, if I roll around, you can see that those are popping out now, those handles. Okay, now I want to do the basin at the top. For the basin at the top, I'm going to pan around so I can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to chuck in a midpoint line for a guide. And then I'm going to pop in a circle that is a 15 centimeter radius. Sometimes you got to try a couple of times to get there. Alright, so now we're there. I'm going to get rid of my guidelines. And I'm going to push this down 15 centimeters. Alright, so far so good on this basin. But I want this basin to be a little bit fancy. Just a little bit on the fancy side. So I'm going to scale and I'm going to stretch my circle at the top so that it tapers in. So I'm going to use my scale tool, so that's this one down here. Click on the top circle. I'm going to use these green squares, these green little cubes, but I'm going to use the ones in the middle, not the ones in the corners. And I'm going to drag this one out, but I'm only going to drag him out. Oh, maybe that's a bit big. Let's drag him out. Let's go one. Oh, maybe that's a bit small. So some of these you'll need to do a little bit of trial and error on. 3 is a bit big. Let's try 2. Probably a bit big. Let's go 1.5. That's about perfect. So let's do the same on the other side. Keep it nice and even. Oh, maybe not. It's not working out as well as I'd hoped. Let's just freehand it. It looks about right. I reckon that looks pretty good. We've got our tapered basin. There we go, and there we have it. We're going to save that one, and there we have it. That's the bathroom basin tutorial. Hopefully this has been a little bit informative and helpful. Thanks for watching.